Welcome back to another construct video. In this video I've got world 1 and I've got 3 exits to the world. So I've got this left side, the middle and the right side. I want to be able to go to different locations by going through the yellow X areas or the gate and then return back to the same place when I come back the way. So I've got world 1, world 2, world 3 and world 4, and we want to move between these 4 worlds and then return to the correct locations when we go back. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I've got these level ends. Now these are just simply yellow boxes that I've stretched out and they do nothing at the moment. What I need to do to them is add an instance variable. So this is going to be called next layout, and this is the layout that we want to go to, and this needs to be a string. We can set the initial value to nothing. Next I'm going to take my gate and I'm going to do the same thing, so edit instance variable. And again, this is going to be called next layout. And this is where I want my gate to lead to. This is going to be a string as well, and it's just going to be left to blank. Next thing we need to sort out is we need to sort out how we return from these layouts. So we need actually a spawner on where we want the player to spawn. So what I recommend for this is actually just taking your character, cloning it. We're going to make sure that we remove any behaviors. So I've got the platform behavior on this. We're going to rename it. So player spawner. And then finally I actually like to take down the colors of this one. So I've got a grey here that I can use to replace the black. I'm going to use the eye drop to get the purple. I'm going to take a much lighter purple as well. This is giving me a faded out version of our character. Now same thing for this, we're going to edit instance variable. I'm going to add a new instance variable, and this is going to be called previous layout, and this is the layout that we've come from previously. This is also going to be a string, and initial value is going to be set to 0. Now it's important that this spawner does not overlap our previous one. If not, we're just going to flick between them really quick, so just move it slightly away. And again, by having the spawner, we can have it so our player starts partway through the level or just slightly into level, so we've got a bit more control with these spawners. So I need 3 spawners for this particular level. So I need 1 for the gates and 1 for both sides. And then once I've got my spawners in place, I need to start actually setting up these instance variables. So first I'm going to click on this left side and I'm going to decide where it goes to. So this one's going to actually go to layout 3. And then my spawner is where I'm returning from, and this will also be layout 3. So most of the time these are going to be the same. Make sure you spell layout correctly, so this needs to be a capital L. And I'll check I've done the same on this one. So make sure it's the exact same as what you've called it in your files up here. So if you rename any of these, you will need to rename them on these 2 objects as well. So for this one's going to go to layout 4. And the gate's going to be the same. And then same for these 2, layout 2. And layout 2. Now the only time that these might be different is you might have multiple ways to leave a level around about the same sort of area, maybe a pipe, maybe a bit you can fall from the sky, and you might want the player to always respawn at the same point, so you can get away with using 1 respawn point for multiple exits, or you might want a slightly different entrance. So you've got some options there, but again, the spawner is where you've come from. The gates or the side bits, whatever you use to indicate going to a new area or new zone, is where you're going to, is what you're setting it. And most of the time these will be the same. So I'm going to quickly time lapse me going and setting up the other worlds and doing the exact same, and then we'll see what we need to do into the event sheet. So now we've got all those set up, we're now ready to move to the event sheet. So for these other layouts, all I've got is layout 1 on both my object to move to the next layout and on my spawner, just because they're all going back to layout 1. So I'm going to go to our event sheet. So first thing we need to do is add a global variable, and this is going to be called layout. And this is going to store as a string what layout we're currently on, and this is so we can use a lot of that to help us work out where we've come from and where we're going to next. In an event, we're going to check if player is overlapping another object, This is going to be my level end. So I'm going to hit done. Then I want to do a couple of actions. So first thing I want to do is take system, and I want to set value of layout, and this is going to be set to the current layout. So layout name. So this takes the name of the current layout we're on. Next thing we need to do is we need to do system, scroll down, and we want this go to layout by name. And what we're going to do is we're going to take level end dot next layout, which is that instance variable that we've just set up. Finally, what we need to do is actually spawn the player in the correct place. So we're going to add an event. We're going to say system on start of layout player set position, and then this is going to be set to player spawner.x player spawner.y. Now, in order to know which spawner we want to go to, we just simply add another condition here. We're just going to click on player spawner. We're going to check for the one, compare instance variable, and check for the one that's previous layout is the same as layout, which we've just changed the value of just before we go to the next layout. So by doing this, we're now able to go between. So let's test this first of all. So on world 2, we go back to world 1 and we spawn in the correct place. And then we should be able to go back to world 3 and then back to world 1, all spawn in the correct place. Now we've got a gate as well. So for the gate, I'm going to right click on the object, add a new object type. I'm going to get the keyboard. And then all I'm going to do is take this code we had before and copy and paste it. And now I'm going to check if they're overlapping the gates. And I'm going to add one more condition here to check if keyboard is key pressed up. So if we're in front of the gate and we press up, we'll go through the gate. The only thing we need to change is this second line. Instead of level end next layout, it's just going to be gates.next layout. And that will allow us to go between them. Final thing that we can do is we can go to all our layouts and we can click on the level end, and we can actually make this invisible now, and we can do the same for our gate. Now you have to do this for each layout, so I'll quickly do that now, and then we'll do a test. So now back in our world, we've just got the gate this time. We haven't got anything else in there because that's all invisible now. So I move to the left hand side and go off the screen. I'll spawn into world 3. Forgot to make him invisible, but that's absolutely fine. So we'll see it on the other examples. We'll go into the gate by pressing up, and we're now in world 4. We'll go back through the gate and spawn the correct position, and then finally we can go to world 2. So it's a really simple bit of code. There's not too much code in order to get this working, and this will allow you to switch between lots of different locations in your world, have a bit more of an kind of open world, non-linear setup for a platform game. And again, if you want to add another location such as a pipe, we could just copy and paste this code and just make sure it's got that instance variable of next layout. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and comment. Let me know what sort of other things you'd like to see added to your platform games.